Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
A good question. Let's find out.
A small loan of $1 million.
Boo! You stink!
Yeah, my memes are pretty shit, in all honesty. Hey, nerds and nerdettes, it's me, the Nerdy Knight, and today I'm gonna tell you about how I actually have like a novel in the works. Yeah, it's complete and utter shit, but it's my pile of shit. I made it. But first, some backstory as to how it got started. So one day, me and a friend, we're hanging out at this one guy's house, and we're just shooting the shit, you know, and he turns to me and asks, you know what I haven't seen a lot of in anime? A good romance. So I turn to him and is like, well, let's make our own.
Gay!
Well, none of us are animators, so we pretty much figured, hey, let's write our own story about like something like this. So he turns to me like, you know, like, dude, I got it. What if this delinquent has a crush on like this bookworm girl? And I turn and says like, okay, I can sort of see where this is going, but what if the delinquent was a girl? And what if the bookworm was a dude? And he just looks at me, he's like,
Brilliant!
dude, that's brilliant. So the next day I bust out my little notebook and I start jotting down some notes, and to be quite honest, I have long lost that notebook. It had a lot of good notes in it, so I start writing like shit down, like, you know, the main characters, like, you know, what they like, what they dislike, who their parents were, like a brief synopsis of their personality and so forth, you know, sort of making them people first before actual characters. So, like, and thus the main protagonist of the story we were writing, Coda, was born. So, a brief summary of who Coda is, he's essentially like, you know, this scrawny, shrimpy kid. His best friend is like on the rugby team or some shit. And, like, you know, he has this crush on, like, you know, this weird girl in his class. But overall, typical anime protagonist, and thus the main heroine of the book. Yuri was born. Now, unlike Coda, she is not a shrimp. She's actually quite tall, for a Japanese girl anyway. And, like, you know, she has a short fuse, but if you actually took the time to get to know her, she's a pretty decent girl. I'm getting sidetracked now. This story would be a bit more, well, it's not a fairy tale. Relationships, as we all know, are complex, messy things, and I wanted to try and emulate that. I mean, the relationship. It starts off like, you know, I'm not entirely sure how I had it planned out with how they meet, but the rough draft, they meet somehow, they start hanging out, you know, and they start to get to know one another, letting each other in. And I planned that the midpoint of the work is that they would have sex for the first time. Mind you, they're not going out, because Yuri is this type of girl who's like, you know, into like one night stands because, you know, smoke weed all day, don't give no fucks. That's essentially how her attitude is. Like, but then, like, you know, Coda gets a little clingy, she's starting to push him away, yada yada. As you can see where this is going. But then there was a disagreement how we wanted it to end. I wanted to end it like, you know, a more somber, more bleak ending, where they acknowledge that they have their feelings for each other, but they go their own separate ways. And he wanted, like, you know, oh, you know, they do end up together, but they're just gonna work out their differences. And, well, like, I mean, I had plans for this. I wanted to make this just unconventional love story, if you will, like about a bookworm and a delinquent girl. But unfortunately, like, only like the first, I think, 2 or 3 chapters got written before it got shelved, because I had to start focusing on school and whatnot. That, and, well, for some odd reason, the two of us just sort of drifted apart. I mean, we didn't have any kind of like falling out or anything. It's just that we kind of stopped hanging out, and, you know, when I wanted to work on it, he wasn't, like, you know, really into it. Like, you know, I was gung-ho about this thing, but, oh well. if I do find the first draft, I would like to know if you guys are interested in reading it. Be sure to let me know in the comments below. I mean, it's not much. It's like 2 or 3 chapters, but it's pretty decent stuff. I mean, we showed it to like a couple of our friends back in the day. They said it was pretty good. A couple things they had problems with, but other than that, it was pretty solid from what I can remember what they told me. As again, let me know in the comments below if you want to see it. I'll try to find it. If not, well, that completely fucking sucks. So, until next time, nerds and nerdettes, stay nerdy.
For the grace, for the might of our Lord, for the home of the holy, for the faith, for the way of the sword, give the light so full.